This is the November edition of our Sitecore Group Brazil. Today we'll have Vinicius, Diego, José Neto, and myself giving our Brazilian vision about the Sitecore Group in Orlando. Myself, Vinicius, and Diego, we are in here in Brazil, and José Neto directly from um, how was that? Portugal,
Portugal, Lisbon.
Lisbon. Cool. Amazing. All right, guys. Well, I guess we'll get started. This is actually, a free form, open discussion about our impressions in the Symposium user group. So I guess I will, invite everyone to speak. Everybody has their microphones unmuted, so we can discuss at any time. We also can be interrupted by questions here in the audience or people online. We got your chat running
And you
in
can
YouTube.
tweet hashtag SUG-BR, SUGBR. You can ask questions there as well.
Yeah, I'm giving you more volume, Diego. It was a bit low.
Thank you very much.
Cool. Yeah, much better now, man. All right, I'll just localize in here. Um Thanks for the link, YouTube, so I can follow everybody online. Cool. All right, let's get started then. I would like to invite everyone to speak, and like to start with the opening keynotes. This year, the Sitecore Symposium was run in Orlando, which was a great city, and in a place called Swam and Dolphin. It was a hotel, actually part of the resort of Disney resorts. So I would like to ask you guys, Vinicius, Diego, and Jose, to first to start by giving your biggest highlight. What, of course, we are getting started with the keynotes, but tell me, your big lesson this year, each of you. Let's start with Vinicius.
Yeah, so hey everyone. As my first symposium, I couldn't be uh, more happy than I am right now. So I was able to meet a lot of our folks in the community, other MVPs, people from Sitecore, from other companies, clients as well that showed up at our booth and in Valtech. Um, and definitely it was an amazing experience that I want to uh, make it happen the next year as well as a sidecar MVP. I hope so. And it's a huge event, and that was ran in Dolphin and Swan Resort. It's a huge place to fit everyone from the Sitecore community to follow up sessions and keynotes and the awesome people that we found there. That's it.
Amazing. Yep. Good,
I'll go
good.
next.
So
Um,
you go next, Diego. Go ahead.
sure. So from my perspective, I have to agree with Vinicius. The place where the symposium took place was an awesome place. Very good infrastructure for the whole event. I mean, the open keynote, Sitecore kind of already put the bar very high around the announcements we had in the investments that they have been doing. In the the theme was elevate the experience, right? So everything that is related to that, like Sitecore 9.1 has been announced, right, with a ton of interesting features. We have now a machine learning already embedded into that version 9.1, which is Sitecore Cortex. Um, a lot of we heard a lot about headless, JSS, commerce. Great presentations on C Kids Foundation. Very inspirational. One for Not Impossible presentation as well. That one personally, very moving presentation as well. So I mean, I think this kind of gives me a very good picture of the level of event, the level of things new that are coming up with Sitecore, and also not to mention that the community. I think it's always good to see the people that we know, that we interact on a daily basis in the community, Slack channel, Sitecore Stack Exchange, all the the channels that are available for you essentially. So if you are involved in with Sitecore in any way, so personally, it was a pleasure to be there and seeing that everything that Sitecore is investing in, where this big product is going. And just wrap it up before Giseneto can speak his mind. I also like to hear about Style Labs Fusion, because we're going to be speaking about this a little bit, in this presentation. But I mean, Sitecore is definitely filling an interest a gap with digital asset management systems and product information management systems, which Sitecore does not have, but now it's going to have, because Style Labs is going to be integrated into the product, which is I'm very curious to see that in action.
Nice, guys. Yeah, thanks for telling that my microphone seems to be higher than the others. Sitecore is with us. Thanks for texting, Sitecore, and I'm glad you guys are following us. What about you? Diego told about several things. We are going to get back to these subjects later. What about you, Jose? Tell us your highest highlights.
Well, for me, it was the first symposium as well, and I think to had a good infrastructure there, and it was in a summer place, which makes everyone in a good mood as well. And this event is great for uh, do some networking and make more friends. uh, in terms of networking, they provide as well an app for the people interact and change contacts instead of giving cards. So I think it was uh, helpful as well. And the event was made in a way to people interact, which was great for everyone. And in my perspective, it was not an event focused on developers, but for all the Sitecore community in general, which we have marketers and everyone involved in Sitecore world and as users. And there's a lot of stuff that's coming that we had experience that we have that opportunity to see there. As Diego mentioned as well, we have the fusion with Style Labs, we have the Cortex, and the keynotes. I think it was like very inspiring for everyone. So in the first day, I think it was an excellent day.
Thank you, Jose. Yeah, indeed. Guys, I'm totally with you. That was my third Sitecore symposium. And this time, what I saw that caught more my attention is that this was the symposium that was, in my mind, more emotional than the others. They are bringing subjects about things that are not just business, but also things that makes you inspired and emotional. Yeah, that brings us to the keynotes, guys. The slides I have here are more for like just illustration, but I'm bringing here some subjects. They started the symposium with this message: elevate the experience to transform your business, telling that the biggest story is that your product is your experience, not exactly your product, your physical product, but the experience you have with that. And that's a biggest marketing mindset per se. And biggest highlights, I guess, from that session is that Sitecore is even more focused in the marketing part than ever. and they brought us some things we can speak later about their future. Uh, so, what do you guys think? We have here. We can go through all this, like talk about the release, the new Sitecore 9.1 release, um and some of those features. So, guys, tell me about the because I'm talking about that emotional part. Tell us about your experience. For instance, you, Vinicius, your first, and you, Jose. What was your impressions compare with your expectations of what we and what you saw? What was that? Tell us about that.
Yeah, so at first I thought that would be a pretty deep technical event, and it ended up at the first day having the Sick Kids keynote that was touching directly in the heart because it's a great project. I can say that I'm lucky to be part of the team that developed the solution and delivered that to the client when we used to be nonlinear and as well as Valtech now. It's pretty amazing the way that Sitecore could raise funds during the symposium to make some people like us, tech guys that are not as healthy as we should be, riding some bicycles to raise some money for these awesome project, Sick Kids. And definitely the other thing that we are about to talk, it's the fallacy of impossible, not impossible labs from Mika Ebeling. So very touching session. So it's amazing what the a human being can do, and in fact, there is nothing impossible, and we should move on. And last but not least, about women and the empowering of women in technology. It was amazing as a keynote session about Move the Dial and, of course, the women of Sitecore. So great to see all of those humans trying to change the way that technology see them in the world in technology.
Yeah. Oops. Yeah. Let me just adjust my microphone. Cool. Yeah, that's was indeed a very touching session. The fallacy of impossible. I see. I noticed some folks were even emotional in terms of crying, and they're doing that also through the WhatsApp group that the guys were doing. That was a great session. You talking about sick kids. I have Josenet in the line as well, and he also made part of that team and saw in firsthand the sick kids promo video, right, Jose?
Yes, Rodrigo. Indeed, I worked in the project, so I made a small contribution to the sick kids in terms of development efforts. And that keynote for me was very special to know that I was part, in a way, of that. And the whole project, the project, the big picture of the marketing project was very important for sick kids, and made a huge impact to raise donations. And I remember we developed things that was told there, and that video that they showed there, I had watched sometimes before, and even when I watched that again, I cried once more because see that video in that environment, and I was very touching. And I think for everyone who was part of that, and not just for the people that were not part of that, the video was very very good. And in the keynotes in general, it was very inspiring, and I think it was very important to have those sessions. That session of Fallacy of Impossible, it was very different as well. I think The contribution that was made from that team was great as well, and this part of showing contributions from companies to the world, it's something that is coming, something that we saw there, and I think it's gonna have a huge impact. And I was very glad to see that presentation as well.
Yes, indeed. Yeah. For those who didn't had a chance to see that presentation, Mick Ebeling made a presentation about the things that he built to improve the world and gave some examples about that. So, for instance, he compromised to build a prosthesis to people in a country from Africa. What was the country? Huh? Sudan, something like that. Yeah. Um, sorry, the guys from there, we don't know. But he ended up making prostheses that is like 10,000 cheaper than the ones that are publicly available because he was using 3D printer to do that. He brought a very important thought that we guys from Go Horse teams are very used to do, which is commit first, then you figure out. That was his biggest thought. Kind of, you don't have to give up something, a project, because you think it's impossible. That's all the thing about not impossible. And he also brought some interesting experiments. Diego, do you wanna tell us about some devices that the guy built to improve their lives? I mentioned the prostheses, but you might have others.
Well, I'm not gonna try to be as eloquent as he was on his presentation. If you really want to see that in first action, just there are like his presentation is available on TED online, so you can even watch it. But I think the biggest message was that in this is 2018, and I think the message was there is nothing that is impossible, right? So to give an example, no, he figured out a way to help someone who I think he could not move. He has had a disease that he could only move his eyes, and he actually came up with a device to help that person draw so he could how he could communicate. He could not speak, he could not do anything, but he could move his eyes. So he came up with this device to help that gentleman. He came up with a device to implant arms in the little boys. He came up with a device to help the deaf
Alzheimer guy.
listen. Listen, no, the deaf listen, and as a side effect, the device that he created actually helped out people with
Parkinson.
Parkinson's disease.
Yeah.
So I mean, these are just some of the examples. Again, I'm not gonna be trying to be as eloquent as he was, but I mean, I think the message is this: we have a world that is filled with technology, that is filled with information and with knowledge available for everybody. So really, I think my take is when there is a mind, when there is someone thinking about how to solve a problem for another human being, try to make good, he will find a way, even
That's
if,
right.
right. So I mean, that was to me the biggest message, and I think that's what we can benefit with technology these days. Technology is bringing us to a new level of interaction, a new level of engagement with clients, or the way people interact between each others. This is a very good example. We are streaming an event in South Brazil, but maybe there's someone in India or in China that may be listening to what we're saying, and this is great. This is because there's technology, right? So I think our we should just make sure that we can do that for good, and then improve that and help people with that. So that is my takeaway on some of those sessions. Mick was one of them. Six Kids Foundation as well. I mean, there were others as well that were inspiring, like Shark Tank. Uh, then yeah, his session was actually really great as well. I mean, but yeah, that was yeah. I'll get back to you here, Rodrigo.
All right. Yeah. Okay. He also talked about find your one, kind of find your problem you want to solve, and then later you figure out how to make money with that. This guy's rich now, of course, because of that Parkinson stuff he invented. But I wonder how he paid his bills before that. Um, all right. Let's switch subjects to Sitecore 9.1 release. It's being released sooner than later, I guess, maybe middle of this November, something like that. And we got pretty interesting features in this one. I would like to bring up some of them, and would like to start with the JSS and the headless stuff. Okay, we have slides later to talk about that in details. So we just mentioned here that they are bringing the headless CMS to the table in with the GSS stuff in a way that is now a first release. It was more than a year in a pre-release tech preview. Yes, and it's now ready to that. So do you want to get we'll have more details in JSS later, but we want to just give us some ideas of what expectations you have for this thing. Do you think that would change the way we do development nowadays with Sitecore that much, or
Uh, Personally, well, that is my personal opinion. I think it changes a little bit the workflow of how we approach a project. It does not necessarily mean it changes. It adds a new role, right? So, typically, we have in MVC projects, for example, we have front end developers, we have back end developers, front end taking care of JavaScript, CSS, the front end part of things. Sidecar developers doing pretty much the rest in the back end, functionality, integrations, pipelines, customizing everything. Now we have that is changing a little bit because now the front end developers are being empowered to build, the views using JSS in a headless fashion, right? Um, I mean, it changes a little bit the way you would handle a project normally because you have a more, I want to say a dependency, but the front end developer is empowered. So when you're dealing with a 6 month or 1 year project, that that professional is not just responsible for turning a design into a markup. Is more than that. Now he's actually integrating with Sitecore, something that he wouldn't do before because that would normally some a developer would do. A developer, I mean, a Sitecore developer would do. Just creating the views. So I'm interested in seeing that in action in actual live projects. Because it's using technologies that are very, pretty much common these days, like React, Vue, or Angular. So it's definitely a trend. So I'm interested to seeing live projects being executed in it, and what are the caveats and what are the things that we need to learn. But one thing that I can tell you is, Sitecore developers, their jobs are not going anywhere. That is for me for sure because it's a completely different approach. So Sitecore is actually fixing, filling a gap that was out there, which was a headless implementations. But I don't think MVC is going anywhere. That is my personal impression. But yeah,
yeah. Um, I tend to agree. Okay, experiment with the microphone. I tend to agree with that, Diego, because things are not changing fast in this industry. It when you are looking from outside, it might look fast, but we always have time to adapt. And if you're concerned with your job, I guess you have more chance for that.
I'm not concerned with my job. I'm just saying for those that maybe, I don't think their jobs are going anywhere for now.
Yeah, me neither. Me neither. What about the acquisition of Style Labs from Sitecore? Um, What do you guys think about that? I think that brings us great improvements in terms of the cloud. These guys are born in the cloud, Style Labs. I'm not sure many of us heard about these guys before, but also the asset management that Sitecore always had a lack on in terms of not just a media library that nobody is in love with that, I would say, but also the lack of workflow for people to work since the marketing team, the creative, and etc. It was not integrated with Sitecore, and now they will probably be. Sitecore has announced a connector for soon, probably beginning of the next year or December. Not sure everybody will be looking for that and during the Christmas, but okay. Inputs about this acquisition. What do you guys have in mind for that? Vinicius.
Yeah, so I felt pretty impressed with their presentation when they demonstrate the the power of their solution already integrated with Sitecore. And I'm not a developer or either a content author, so I cannot say that much as you guys can. But I believe that Sitecore wouldn't acquire a company just for acquire. Yeah, so who would do that? So I think they have a lot to add for the Sitecore ecosystem, and I'm pretty sure this will improve the way that the system is growing, especially from the Sitecore Experience Commerce. They are investing a lot to make this happen and doing well for now on. So let's see moving forward how things goes.
Nice. What about you, Jose? How you got that uh, acquisition?
Hello. Well, I think that the tool they have is pretty mature, and indeed it will add more power to those guys who create the content with that workflow, and also the tool is already on Azure, right? So this is great, and it's we'll use that tool online and integrate with Sitecore, so they are already like very quality product on their hands, and I think it will be great for the Sitecore product in general.
Yeah, and also we now have Tim and Tom on board, so it's a cute name.
Yeah, so they, I think it's on.
No, it's on.
Yeah,
It's
so they spend 5 minutes. They came from Belgium just to stay 5 minutes in the
in the
stage.
stage.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
but they are rich, man.
Yeah, exactly. But I'm not putting that
In
in the table.
question.
Yeah, so
Yeah, that's right.
I'm fine with that.
Okay, I guess it's a good idea if we go to the next slides, right? We got
Thank
slides
you.
to illustrate everything, but the pilot here is
Don't
not.
blame the streaming
Yeah.
delay. It was not that.
Yeah, I know, I know.
Yeah, Brazil internet. But
No.
yeah, so this is the C Kids presentation, a picture of it. I just tweeted in the Sitecore user group tweet the video that it's available on YouTube. So whenever you have a moment, preferable after our Sitecore user group session,
Yeah, don't start now.
have a look and prepare to become emotional. And man, let's support that. It's a huge cause, and
They're building a hospital, right?
yes, exactly. They are
In
funding
Toronto.
Toronto.
Toronto. Yeah.
It's a hospital to take care of kids with cancer. Yeah. So it's a very nice example of using Sitecore for non-profits organizations. And here's a slide from the Fallacy of Possible. And that funny guy, it was very spontaneous and everything. And what you see in the screen is one of the devices he built. This one to make someone that was totally
That's the one that I was talking about. That
Yeah,
he actually helped that gentleman write with his eyes as he was looking to that device.
right, and also draw.
Yeah,
That's
what
exact.
is
Yeah,
the disease name in English?
I
It's
don't
the
think
one
it.
with the water bucket that they.
Oh yeah,
I don't recall. Ella.
I don't think
It's
everybody knows.
yeah. Okay,
Don't bring
if
that up.
fibromyalgia in
It seems the
Portuguese.
guy that just used integrate things that already exist and was like great to do a cheap product. And probably is an Arduino board there, right, Rodrigo?
Yeah,
So
that's
he
probably
would.
a microprocessor. Yeah, that's a very interesting one. So looking
yeah.
forward to see more stuff like that.
And
Yep.
talking specifically about that glass, he um, give his words to the brother and the father of the person that receives the glass to draw. And the first thing, they get everyone outside of the hospital and put a huge projector in the wall and make the guy draw and write in the. It's a great story about this guy. He used to be a painter, right?
Wow,
So yeah, it
wow,
was a good section for sure.
that's really amazing. Yeah, okay. I actually don't remember that part, but Sitecore symposiums are sometimes they
That's
can be.
that's why we are here. So
Yeah, I know. Sometimes they can be very tiring. Which, by the way, okay, let's go to some JSS and headless. We started to speak about that. Headless CMS is actually the ability to, manage the content in a CMS without binding the content directly to a layout, to a layout. For instance, we traditionally in Sitecore we have an item with the layouts, renderings, and etc. there. With headless, which is not a new concept, you will be using the SDK, JSS SDK, to read data from Sitecore and not just the data to the page title, the body, text, etc. But also you can have customizations, personalizations, all that in this. Uh, so who wants to get started and talk something about that? I know, Jose, we have a slide here later for something you implemented, which was a very interesting way of using JSS. We'll get there at that time. Okay, yeah. So here, the great idea is to use some modern frameworks like React, Angular, etc., to consume data from Sitecore without losing A/B tests, personalizations, and etc. And also, of course, implementing some interesting and more rich experience uh, with the pages you're building, because you don't need to reload everything all the time. Yeah, okay. I guess we spoke a lot about that already. And the idea here is not go down to the integrations and to the architecture of that. It's just bringing this as something that is coming out. It's already there and can be worked out already with Sitecore in the new version. Yeah, so here we have some benefits of that. Like I said, we have a richer experiences. The application that you build is more interesting than something that you have to refresh all the time. Uh, we have the biggest, I guess, the biggest advantage here. They're kind of disclosing that way is having the front end devs working together with the rest of the team, not excluded anymore. And also you can have the disconnected mode, like I was talking number 3 there in the bullet 3. With the disconnected mode, you don't need a Sitecore instance to work with JSS. And it's something that takes space, memory, needs a good CPU and good resources to run Sitecore. With a disconnected mode, you don't need anything like that. Of course, you're not seeing the real stuff. You have like mock data and also GraphQL. GraphQL was like a SQL, for reading data from um, from the Sitecore installation. And that way, by using GraphQL, you don't need to get all the data from in the JSON call, because you can specify just the things you want. I just want to bring what is in that placeholder and be very granular with that. And the cookies, the analytics cookies, which is something that we used to have to take care. It's now automatic. Okay, Jose. So I'll let you introduce your module, which is a very interesting module using JSS for not doing what JSS is projected to, but something different. Uh, Please introduce us your stuff, Jose.
Okay, Rodrigo. The idea was to validate actually the service layer. That have GSS to have some services that you can use, and one of those services is the GSS layout service. So basically, the GSS layout, the layout service provides an JSON as a result of what you configure on Sitecore in a way that someone will consume that service. And thinking on that, thinking in a probably an integration that someone can do and externalize the service, I came up with the idea of trying to validate this layout service change. What means that by that? Well, you you are extending some JSON through the layout service, but perhaps you're gonna change something on personalization or on the placeholder settings or on the content itself, and this will externalize a different content. So the idea was to create a proof of concept that would allow me to validate that. The validation actually is to know if there was a change on this or not. So what happens if I change that item or if I change that personalization will affect what the JSON is, what the result of this JSON, the externalization of that is really happening. And with that tool that I create, that proof of concept, you are able to do that. So the idea was before the deployment you would run the tool, and this would save the JSON result from the JSS load service. And after you perform your deployment, which would can be a lot of things, Sitecore items and all other things that can be involved in the deployment, you would run this tool again and compare the previous result of the JSON provided by JSS load service, and after that it would compare those things, and it would show you the difference on the JSON result. So that would be the output, and in this way you know what was changed, and if it was should change or not. So it gives you that idea.
Cool. Yeah. You have this last slide. I'm sorry for not showing you.
Oh yes, well, we have the site core layer, then we have that GSS load service, then have probably a React applications, some kind of application consuming the layout service, and this content checker would be in the middle of that, and it would be acting just on the layout service itself, which provides you the JSON outputs.
Nice. Thanks for everybody online. But who is Mike Reynolds? I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Your microphone is muted.
It's just some random dude.
I want tranquility when doing my jokes. Hi, Chris Williams. How are you doing, man?
So we
Sorry.
is Neto done? We're
Yeah.
done?
No,
No, okay.
no, he's done. You will have a question for that?
Nope, I have a question about something else.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so Sitecore Chris asked, my question is, what is your favorite channel in Sitecore Omni? SUG-BR, hashtag.
Sorry, was that for me?
No, for the table, but
Go you first, Diego. No, don't do that.
sorry, just a second. So, Chris' question is, what is your favorite channel in Sitecore Omni?
In Stack in Slack.
Omni channel, I guess. Omni channel, he's asking for. Chris, I know that you are in YouTube. Can you explain a little further what is your question exactly?
Why do you do that? Let's just move on. Oh, sidecar only is like JSS, SXA, OAuth.
Okay, you don't have to. You wanna think a little bit about Diego?
JSS.
Because you're imitating him.
No, it's just because I think it's the future.
That's right. That's right. All right, guys. Let's go to the next subject then. Sitecore Cortex. The great idea with this is something I guess we're missing a lot. Everybody knows that Sitecore can be used to offer uh, personalized content according to the groups and the profile of the person that is browsing the website. And of course, that is something that needs to be adjusted manually. So you need to have the ability to understand your audience so you can set up personalizations and tests and things for them. With Cortex, they are implementing using artificial intelligence to dig down to all that analytics information and offering things for you, important things for you, like insights that you don't see because as a human being, it's hard for to see patterns in big data. So Cortex is combining that machine learning to offer insights for the person that is working with the Sitecore as a marketer.
I'm excited. I'm super excited about Cortex because I think Sidecore is taking marketing automation to the next level, right? So I mean, it's empowering marketers, to benefit from suggested personalizations, content tagging, all powered by machine learning. I mean, if you think about this, we have a machine learning algorithms trying to figure out who are you, what are you trying to accomplish while visiting your website, and trying to deliver content in a more intelligent way. I mean, to me, that is, if you need an excuse to upgrade Sidecar 9.1, that is one. Now, being a developer myself, I'm super interested in actually getting my hands on with it because I know that the engine is available for you to actually work with. You can extend it, you can play with it, right? We do have an open source project that Mike Stiles actually leads, which is the cognitive service, where he actually has done some of this work. But I mean, now it's going to be native in Sidecore. So doing some machine learning with Sidecore, it's something that I'm keen to get my hands on. So, anyways, that is just me.
Not just you, it's a cool topic, and of course, making the website more intelligent, it's something really cool. uh Anyone? Vinicius?
I have another question here on Twitter. Yep. So from Sitecore Dane. What is the thing about the Real Style Labs that made you say, "Whoa, that's a game changer"?
That was you doing that.
I didn't say game changer.
Sitecore Dane is asking us, so we're actually answering.
It's Chris.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, I don't know if it's a game changer. We definitely was lacking because Sitecore was agnostic in terms of asset management, right? It was kind of you do whatever you want, you implement the tool you want, and use the integrate that. And then because of that, we got lots of inconsistencies, and people were not using Sitecore to the whole flow and etc. At the same time, they have the cloud experience, and Sitecore is migrating to that less monolithic product to something that is more microservices. Then I believe that participation of these guys can be something that can contribute with the cloud experience and bring that to the table um,
Well,
faster.
yeah, so I don't recall saying that it's a game changer, but indeed it's an improvement for Sidecar from what I could see in their presentation. As I mentioned, I'm not a Sidecar developer, and I don't know what exactly are um, the problems that these will cause in the near future inside of Sidecar. I'm not a content author. I'm not entirely sure what exactly is going to happen because there are plenty things that you can now do with Labs plugin. Not sure if I can say that it's a plugin or something, but I'm pretty sure this is a amazing opportunity to bring new stuff to Sitecore and Sitecore think through this acquisition for sure. And it's of course we will add value to ecosystem and to the product.
well, I think actually, as I said before, Style Labs, the acquisition will fill a gap, right? Big corporations, uh, normally they have their digital asset management systems where they store all their, their media, images, design, and everything is pretty much centralized in those systems. And when it comes with Sitecore did not have an out of the box way to fill that gap. So if you wanted to integrate a digital asset management system into Sidecar, you could extend Sidecar and could get that done. But I mean, there was always that gap. Every time, whenever that happened, you needed that integration. Is was custom implementation, and I think the Style Labs acquisition from a digital asset management perspective only fills that gap, right? There are others, and on the closing keynotes, it was presented, the workflow of Style Labs system, how that all works, and how they envision their integration happening with Sidecore. I mean, we just took a quick peek on that, and but was I don't think anyone from this table has seen it in action because it's still not available. But I mean, I think the picture was well painted. I mean, you could see how things will integrate, how you can essentially see their systems, how you can go from Sidecore to Style Labs and Style Labs to Sidecore. I think that integration is gonna make Sidecore a better product for sure.
That demo the guys made in a closed keynote was really interesting because the same workflow used to approve a change in the marketing team was, you can approve and reject, and when it go back to the marketing team, he can open from there and edit the art in the tool itself integrated. So that's really cool. Jose, you're so quiet. You can give us
Yeah,
words about Style Labs or
yeah.
Cortex. Go ahead.
I want to talk just a little bit about the Cortex. We have that slide there, and well, I think introducing AI on site core like will give you a powerful tool to the marketers, and they will be able like to target the correct audience or find new audience that they don't know about to sell more or achieve better results using their website. And I'm really eager to see a case of study uh, using Sitecore Cortex in the next years, probably a next symposium or another user group to understand and to measure how this tool will help their business, how this will impact positively in their business, how much the sale will increase, or how much uh, clicks they made, and how was the performance of the marketer using that tool. So I'm really uh, eager to see that in the future.
Cool. Yeah, definitely. Okay, next one. I have a slide here about Horizon. Horizon is the new experience editor, which will not be called experience editor anymore, nor page editor for the old guys. It's something
You're
new.
calling me old?
You're not old, you're like experienced.
Old.
All right.
Get a room.
So yeah, that's a big, it's something, the experience editor is something that didn't change much in the past. Like since we know Sitecore, it was quite the same, very similar. And now they have this, they come with that new Horizon. New Horizon is a good name for that. Which is will be the visual experience, the visual page editor, the visual edition for pages, right? What's your intake? What's your takes for that, Diego? Go ahead.
I want to see it. I mean, it was presented last year in the closing keynote. I think there was a lot of buzz, a lot of excitement about it. This year's as well on the closing keynote, we got to see a little bit more about Horizon. But on 9/1, which is coming up really soon, Horizon is going to be released as a tech preview. I think Sitecore was humble enough to admit that it was harder to bring this to life than they originally thought. But I mean, it was announced that it's coming up on tech preview, so I guess we will all have a chance to play with it a little bit, in the next few days or so. So I'm looking forward to it. I think this will change a lot the way content authors deal with Sitecore.
Jose?
Hello. I I'm very excited about that as well, and really expect that to or us to be faster in the way that will help the experience of the content authors. So the guys who work on that all day, they have this usual performance issue on the current one, and I think with the set horizon, this can this time of development, this pace can reduce and improve the performance of the content author itself, and save some time and save some money for the companies. And for the developers as well, we have to deal with the experience editor as well, and see set horizon and see the new features that will come. Will be very nice for us in a way as well.
Yeah, it's really promising, especially because it's bringing together analytics data with the page with the edition experience, meaning that previously you had to open several tabs to see the same data that now you have in the same place, such as heat map, the pages that are more accessed, goals, and etc. All right, let's keep on walking. Who wants to talk about Sitecore 9X, Sitecore Experience Commerce? Yep. All right. Yeah. Personally, there are people on the line now that are much more experienced than I am. I had honestly not worked professionally with Sitecore Experience Commerce. I run a training course this year, which is quite interesting. But and I would say I was a bit admired this year because I was expecting Sitecore pushing more Sitecore commerce than I saw, and that was my takes, I guess. I know I might be disappointing for the guys that are online, especially Chris Williams, who manages the Sitecore Commerce Guild group, teaching guys, teaching the whole community how to use how to best use that. All right. So I will just bring here something that we, as a company, a niche tech, we had a booth there, and it was booth 202, and we put together that interesting demo, which was a demo where we're using face recognition to capture your face and extract information about you. We made that a demo and presented to several people during the event, and was really interesting. So here's a screenshot that you have of the tool. That's me, and impossible we can do a miracle. It's me, right?
Yes, you cannot fix
Yeah,
that.
I know, I
I'm
know.
sorry.
Yeah, I've been trying some Photoshop. Yeah. Okay, so the thing here, guys, is that personalization and A/B tests, all that things are important and very cool. But the biggest problem is how you identify yourself. Okay, when you are in a website, like browsing a website in Sitecore, you have cookies that, because of your history, your browsing history, fits you in this or that group, especially if you have like an intranet and you can input your email and password, and that information can be used to identify you. So I know that you are you, your name is this and that, right? And face recognition in this experience with Nixtag Xface was an experiment we did to identify yourself by your face. And even if I don't have your name, I know that you are a boy or a girl. I know your approximated age. I know your ethnicity, okay, and things like that. So, uh, because I have this information, I can provide you personalized content for you. So we have in that demo, we had just a banner, and the banner has girls when you were a woman, or boys when you were a man. It should be the opposite. I don't know, right? And then if you scan your face will be in the database, right? If even if I don't know you, I don't know your name, I know your face. Later you can go back and say, no, you know what, I like you, that's my name. And then you identify yourself. Now I have your previous history, because I had your anonymous experience, because I know your face. Your face is like your identification, right? And then we can merge the anonymous contact with the known contact. And I guess the face recognition demo was just that, a POC, a proof of concept in that case. But I believe that can bring some interesting stuff to the table with Sitecore, especially when it comes to bringing the experience offline, when it comes to bringing the experience to the real world outside of the browser. So, Chris, that might be my favorite Omni channel. I don't know. All right. So here I have a list of some new features of Sitecore 9. Okay, I don't want to keep on talking alone, so I'll give you the chance. I'll bring all of them to the screen, and then I want to speak about that.
Yeah, let's start with architectural changes. They were coming one by one, but anyways. So one of the things that, aha, thank you very
Okay,
much.
we
Now
do
it's a
whatever you
surprise. You don't
want.
know what's coming. Some of the things that did that 9-1, that is like my favorite part of the symposium, because I mean, let's start with that. So architectural changes, we got Sitecore Helix folders for those using Helix principles, foundation, feature, project. They're all commonly used in the content tree. It's now gonna be a part of Sitecore. Okay. Also, Helix configuration patches are also gonna be available in the app config include folder. It's gonna be there ready for you, and of course, they are configured them in to load in a layer order, which came out on 9. So that's already been integrated as well, of course.
The
Um,
Helix folders you mentioned already.
yep.
He did. Yeah, okay, that was
Pay
something.
attention, please.
Yeah, no, but I never pay attention to you, but that's important
I
because I
can see
want to
that.
show up. So I'm gonna tell you this. It was important. That was something I feel important because when you try to do a module to Helix, okay, you create a module. Let's say it's a feature, right? And then you create a package to install that thing. But in your home, you have an ID to the feature folder, and then and the target client has a different ID. So you ended up with two folders with the same name. And now that Sitecore has that out of the box, everybody can use the same IDs. That's cool.
Uh, I'm not entirely sure, but I heard that Sitecore 9.1 we won't have web form for marketers anymore.
It's coming on the slide. You gotta wait for that, but yes.
Oh man,
Oh
Yes,
no!
rest in
he
peace.
wants to
Web form
have
for marketers.
Just
control.
kidding.
Oh, spoiler!
It was well, it was announced last year, so
Yeah, so
yes,
it's not news
it
anymore.
it's deprecated on 9.1, guys. If you're using it, get rid of it.
And are we point fingers saying spoiler because I saw a lot and I didn't say anything? Just for the record.
I would say when they introduced Sitecore 9 1 year ago, they told that web form for marketers will be dead, and it survived. Okay, I there are several important guys from Sitecore and outside Sitecore telling that this time this is dead. So we all expect that. Are they coming out with some kind of form importation from web form for marketers into Sitecore 9 form? No.
Cool.
Right. So I mean, it was announced that on 9 it would still be supported, but on 9.1 it's going to be deprecated, and the car kept their promise. So if you upgrade to 9.1, it's something you need to consider about. Update center, guys. This is actually something really interesting. This is an evolution of the installation wizard, right? It was presented, so it's a refactor Speak 3 application, okay, where you have the ability to download and install update packages. It also connects to external services, like if you want to retrieve your packages from Sitecore, you can choose your versions. You can so very interesting stuff. Something that helps on a daily basis. Nope. Go
No,
ahead.
no. See,
Oh, he wants to
oh,
guide me again. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Yes, I do
All
that.
right.
I do that a lot. SIF 2.0, guys, it's coming on 9.1. If you want to use 9.1, you gotta upgrade to SIF 2.0. So SIF was a Sitecore installation framework. SIF was
yep.
released on Sitecore with Sitecore 9, and it's a PowerShell framework for you to essentially set up your Sitecore instances. But now it's actually some interesting things are coming, like for example, you can now you have an UI for SIF. So if you're like me that got used to installing Sitecore in a 5-minute thing, and then SIF came along and you were like, what the heck is going on? Now there will be an UI available for you, right? There are some very interesting scripts that I saw on one of the presentations about SIF, where we're gonna make things a little bit easier for you to get up and running with Sitecore way faster on 9.1. Also, it will come with prerequisites install templates. So if you are out there and you're starting Sitecore 9, the list of requirements for you to prerequisites, things you need to download and install can get quite extensive. Now, see with SIF 2.0, actually it comes with a template where you can actually download everything that Sitecore needs from that list, so you can get hit the ground running faster. Um, Anyone about SIF? Otherwise, let's talk about Netcore.
Yeah. So I'm pretty happy with what Diego said about the SIF 2.0 because whenever you have an issue during the installation, you have to either hold back the entire installation, or you have to find ways to trick the installation yourself. For example, if you face an issue with the database, you need to manually go over there and remove the user from that database and then run again, because otherwise you face another error saying that the username already exists in the database. So let's see the improvements for SIF as soon as it's available.
Right. Yeah.
I
With
just
with
want to
Site-
talk a little
go,
bit about
go
that.
ahead.
I think everyone would be very happy with that. I think we saw an increase of the complexity of installing Sitecore from 8 to 9. That kind of scared people. And then they're trying to make friendly again. So this is a win for everyone.
If you still have problems, contact me.
Uh-huh.
Haha.
All right.
No,
Yeah, that user interface, graphical user interface is something that everybody was expecting to 9, so we're happy it's coming now. Along with that architectural changes that we mentioned, we have that .NET Core being more and more used to new stuff. So, yep, I'm sorry, was not me doing that. So let's talk about a little bit about that.
Netcore. So I'm excited about Netcore because Sitecore was really originally built using the .NET framework. Now, after that, there were a lot of changes that happened with Microsoft. Now there's Netcore and everything, and Sitecore started experimenting with Netcore. If I'm not mistaken, it was with the publishing service. It may be with others, but I think publishing service is a very good case that we can talk about because Sitecore publishing mechanism it's dated for more than 10 years ago, right? And a lot changed in the world in the last 10 years. The web, the infrastructure, we have cloud, we have geolocation, we have all of this that's 10 years ago it made existed, but it was not as robust as it is today, right? So the publishing service, I like this case because it's a completely new service rebuilt totally fully in NetCore, completely disconnected from the core product. So you can install it or not, but I mean, probably at some point it will be integrated in the product, but I mean, there's still it was part of the core framework that has been chopped out, and it's running completely separate. And I think Sitecore is actually going towards this microservices architecture. If you talk
Chris,
people,
Chris, I'm sorry to interrupt. Chris is saying that publishing service can run inside a Raspberry Pi.
you can run in command line if you want. You can run on IIS. It's really flexible, right? So
On
that is one
Linux
of the
as well.
benefits. But I mean, one of the things that I'm really interested in seeing is as Sitecore is building more stuff with Netcore, more of its core framework is being chopped out. So we're seeing a lot of stuff, and we will be talking about hosts and identity in a second. But a lot of those things that were there are no longer, and this may it may scare some people because when I started working in Sitecore, most of the ones here may recall this. There were only three databases: Core, Master, and Web. Right?
How many DLLs were there?
Oh yeah, no, I'm not going to go that road. But I mean,
15.
yeah. Now, how many databases do we have on a standalone? I don't even know anymore. I think 11, 12, 13.
Yeah.
Isn't it just core master web?
No, it's
No,
not.
I'm sorry. I'm outdated.
So, but I think Sitecore is actually going towards this path. It's adding more roles. It's chopping its roles into smaller pieces. Now you have content management, content delivery, we have processing, we have reporting, and to go full scaled. I would not be surprised that maybe next year you need 20 servers to actually address all the roles because that's what we're seeing happening in the last few years. With 9 now we have we have X Connect, we have all those roles that come along with it. So I mean that is something that excites me, but it can be a little bit scary for people because this is a change in the way we see Sitecore, that change the way it behaves. So we have to always relearn something that we're all familiar with. So
Yeah, kind of. You don't have. It's not a monolithic stuff anymore, and also it brings some challenges in terms of like deployments, continuous integration. You know, you're not updating just a simple website folder anymore, but instead you need to take care of several different environments and servers and etc. So, Vinicius, you
Yeah.
as a DevOps natively, uh, give us your insights about that.
Yeah, so as you guys are saying that if the feature it's reserving us 20 servers, let's say like that, what scares me about more about it's how we are going to sell that to the clients because right now telling them that we need 4 servers, it's completely scared. And why do I need 4 servers, or why do I need 4 app service? And every time we have to go and explain and all that stuff. But in my particular opinion, I believe that these will bring more reliability for Sitecore in terms of delivering all that stuff that it's they are adding to their core. So reporting, so they are and analytics and processing. So everything should be split off. So it will be possible to split the load for all the reports and all the analytics that it's going on and what everything that they presented at the symposium.
Yeah,
So
the
Chris
beauty, that's
brought.
exactly what I was gonna say. Exactly what Chris just said.
Yeah,
I mean, you don't have to.
you
You
don't have.
can. You can scale up and out easier, more out and up, right? You can scale out easier with this approach, right? If you want a solution that is fully scaled, you can go to 20 servers, or you can run all of those, reporting roles all in the same server. You can. Uh, that is the beauty of it. Can scale out easier.
yeah, I know, but let's say that the client doesn't want to share the same server between 2 roles, processing reporting. So
Well, that is a job for a salesman to actually tell
exactly.
them the story as to why they
So
need
the
it. I
client,
mean, from a technical perspective, I think it's available. You don't have to benefit, but it's available, right? You can use it.
yeah, I know,
It's
but
like having a good car. You don't have to full use its full engine, but you can.
Yeah, you guys remember like 4 years ago when Sitecore started to push the scale environment, CMs and CD. It was also a change in the paradigm in the way we're doing things. I remember Jose was working in a project that has the ability to save data through using forms without web form from artists. And because we made that be scaled, everything broke, and we have to do that again. So
so sorry, Rodrigo. So Chris just said, remember Sitecore now? You can run it all in one server, but you would not do it for production.
in production, you
So
need the scale environment,
I'm not that
please.
wrong, guys.
Yeah, no, you're right.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Okay,
no,
that's all
things
he wanted. He wanted to say somewhat to pat him in the back. Okay,
thing,
let's move on.
Thank
things
you,
are yeah,
Chris.
things are
Love you.
things are changing all the time. That's the interesting part. Huh. So yeah, we spoke about that
Just one
also.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Web 4 for markets, yes, it's deprecated, but Sitecore 9 we actually had some interesting enhancements, right? Um, so one of the things here, let me just take my notes here. Pre-filling of form fields. This is something that actually comes with 9.1. So one of the one of the interesting enhancements. Also allowing users to change existing data in for pre-filling the fields from preventing the user, for example, to having to re-enter data. So it's kind of like one of the things that was enhanced. I'm pretty sure Mike Reynolds, who's online, would be speak more about that, but he's not here. So yes,
He's
let's move
actually
on.
there, but he cannot speak. He's
Yeah,
not invited
he
to the
should not
hangout.
speak. Yeah.
Yeah, he
I,
just
I
went to
just
our
I just learned who
next.
he is.
Okay. Moving
Um,
on. So Rodrigo, next slide. I kind of already talked about this, but yes. This is actually really interesting, and I'm curious to see this. So today, on 902, a cold start from a content management to the when you first start Sitecore, you just recycle your app ports or anything like that. Average is 31 seconds to get it up and running in Launchpad, which is a lot. So on an XM only mode, Sitecore is advertising that it goes down to 16 seconds, which is almost half of that. Number of files on the bin, it came down also to almost half, a little bit more than that, but from 529 to 296. First time you open content editor on a 902 in XM, 24 seconds. On a 91, 4.21. Experience editor as well. First time, 4 seconds, almost 5, and now it comes down to 3. What does that tell us, guys? Is that coming back to that discussion about scaling, about only using what you need as opposed to coming, because Sitecore normally came with everything that you could do to start working, all those features. But what if you just don't want them? What if you're working on your local development and you do not need A/B testing because you're not gonna need it, not in a production environment? Or what if you don't need, I don't know, any other features? So I guess this is, I think, is the vision for the future releases. Sitecore is becoming more, pick what you need and work with that. And if you need more stuff, just plug it in, right? It comes back to scaling again.
Plug and play.
By the way, you wrote recently an article, Diego,
I
about the
did.
improvement speed with Sitecore with the existing versions. Very well.
Yeah, it's on the Jocks to the Core, so Brain Jocks blog, it's there. Yep.
Cool. Yeah, I guess everybody appreciates more speed. All right. Here's a slide to speak a little bit about what has been introduced as Sitecore Host, which is kind of a hub for articulating because we have more and more microservices. So how we orchestrate all that and make sure that you can plug more things and just use whatever you want. So that's host. Uh, we got here a list illustration. It's not even an architecture diagram showing some of the stuff that host will be managing. Sitecore Identity is one of them of these services. And who wants to speak about that? Go, Diego. It's all
I can
yours.
talk a little bit about identity. So identity was based on Identity Server 4. So it's essentially a new service responsible for handling authentication and providing SSO using standard authentication protocols. So this will be the default authentication mechanism in 9.1. Uh, so Sitecore is actually re-implementing that. So it's kind of like they rewrote the membership provider now with identity. So we're not going to have the ASP.NET membership provider we're all used to. And that brings something different as well for 9.1. Normally, we would have core databases were required to be referenced on the CD nodes, content delivery nodes. This is not going to be required anymore because of identity, right? So uh, now on the content delivery nodes, all you're going to have is web database. You don't need core anymore. One question you might have, okay, what happens with custom fields or custom properties for users? This all goes to web database now. So they're changing it to work in this new fashion.
Well, thanks for your inputs, but I was actually looking for some host inputs. But anyway,
I
it
see
was.
Sitecore identity on
I
that
know it
slide.
just went crazy. Yeah, go
Spoiler
horse.
alert.
Yeah, not much. Actually, not much I have to say about hosts, except that it will be the articulation orchestration between these all these microservices. Here we have an example where your beloved Sitecore Identity, which is a NetCore application, is being managed by hosts. And other examples, Universal Tracker, the Horizon itself, which is a NetCore application as well. It's us. Cool. And the identity, well,
You
you
want me to say
exalted
that
it.
all again?
You
I can repeat
exalted. That's a.
exactly.
If you want, I have no objection. I want to sleep more.
There is a question here.
Now let's just move on.
Go ahead. What's the question?
Someone didn't hear Diego speaking about Sitecore identity.
It all became 2,000 years ago.
Uh-huh. All right. Yeah, the and universal tracker is like in this omni-channel world where we're not talking just about the website itself, but you have multiple channels. Like you have an example in the left, top left, it's a Xamarin mobile application, which is consuming the SDK, and you have like a virtual assistant, an IoT hub, and etc. In Universal Tracker is tracking down all these accesses through different channels into X Connect. I was missing some X Connect conversations this year, by the way.
So I'm interested to see this because at the end of the day, it's a scalable tracking service based on web API, right? Designed to collect events in real time on any devices like IoT, mobile websites, anything. So definitely something to check out on 9.1 as well.
Yep. Okay. All right. Well, let's bring here some good stuff. As you guys know, this year we Sitecore was promoting the equality in IT, and it's a great movement. Women of Sitecore. I'm not sure who had the chance. We had Fernanda here with us, which is physically attended the event, and that's great because today nowadays only 10% of the MVPs of the Sitecore MVPs are girls. Okay, and let's be honest, what the thing we do is not rocket science. It's not easy, right? But it's not rocket science. So we can have more people with not just girls or boys, but people that are in a different profile from what we are used to doing that kind of technology. And I think this movement was a great chance to see that happening, and I think they want to keep moving the dial.
I would ask Neto to say something first because he's pretty quiet.
That's right. That's right. You still alive, Jose?
Yes, I am. Just a second.
What time is it in Portugal?
It's 10:25 here. Well, I didn't attend that session, but I think we are seeing the it is increased the number of girls in IT in general, right? Which is a positive thing because I think when we all guys went to the college, it was just a male dominant area, and now we have some equality on that. So we are seeing more women on the community, on IT in general, and they're coming to stay, right? Because they are really in all areas, and this is very important for not just the Sitecore community, but I think for the entire world. We see uh, that movement, so I think it was a very important part on the Sitecore presentations there, and they even created a website to help the woman to start with that. And I don't know if you have the website there. We don't have the URL, but I remember that they create an URL. If someone has it, can post on the chat window. But I think it is great.
I want to say something about that. I do. I think it's a very interesting initiative because there are so many talented people out there, women or men, that may not get the recognition that they deserve. And getting people engaged in the community, getting people involved, speaking up, sharing knowledge and learning with others, even if you are a man or a woman. I think that's really important, right? So we had a very interesting presentation from two colleagues from BrainJogs, Katie Sanford and Victoria Shostak, about 6 strategies for slaying content creation. Awesome presentation around things you need to consider when you're creating a website, thinking on your content authors, their experience, how they're going to be interacting with your solution, what you build. So again, two very talented women giving those that presentation. So I do appreciate those kind of initiatives because they're so, again, it's about bringing talented people and hearing them, and making sure that their voice is heard. So every action that actually helps with that, I think it's appreciated. Back to you, Rodrigo.
Yeah, I appreciate also the guys in the line giving examples of girls that help them. I just made a comment here that Amanda Shiga was the first one I saw using machine learning to hack XDB before XConnect. Yeah,
And before it was cool, as you
before
said.
yeah, before it was cool. I remember that presentation. The guys from Sitecore was kind of, look, this was not supposed to be happening now, only after XConnect. Yeah, yeah, definitely. I guess it's a matter of encourageness. Like you need to motivate them to participate more. And it's, it's everything in life, it's social. You go to a place where among men, you talk man things, and girls are kind of, it's hard to get in that bubble, right? So yeah, I hope to see more and more um, of that happening. More girls being MVPs and great professionals as we know they are. All right, guys. This is kind of what we had in the slides. We don't have
Um,
a strict script to follow, so let's keep on
yeah, but
continue.
I would like to comment about the not about women of Sitecore because you guys covered it all, but about the move the dial thing, which I had the pleasure to attend this session, and it was great opportunity to see those humans' stories behind the success that they have now, because you as a man, I don't see all the issues and all the barriers that uh, women have to pass through um, to earn privilege to become a CEO or a vice president or a president or a founder of a company and all that stuff, especially in tech. So I never thought about what they did to achieve that and what is behind those women's. So one of the things that I found more interesting is that after the presentation, a girl asked to ask a question, and she introduced herself, and then she asked if any of those presenters mind to be her tutor, her guide for career path and achieve goals, because the hot topic in the Move the Dial was regarding how their stories are aligned with someone that at some point in their history, professional history, was there to support her, to support how they achieve things, how to handle situations, and to give opportunities to grow. And I found pretty amazing the idea to have a tutor to guide you through your career. And I well, I can explain how I felt when that girl stand up and asked if someone wanted to be her tutor, because it was amazing. Her courage to go there and ask for such a thing. And I think that it's uh, it's a great opportunity for us, men and women, especially men, to see how the world can be difficult for someone's, and how it's easier for others. But you always find someone to be able to assist you, help you, and guide you through your professional career.
Cool. We were in Orlando and nobody talked anything about the parks. Let's talk about the party, guys. So we had the party this year, and it was amazing. We went to the Universal Park. What was the name of that park?
Universal.
I
One
know,
more,
no, it's something else. It
no,
was
Island of Adventure.
Island of
Yeah.
Adventure.
So,
Before
but
that, we were
before that, sorry. Tomorrow in Toronto, there is Move the Dial Summit. So for those who are in Toronto and want to attend, I'm not sure if there is any tickets available yet, but Sitecore just put that on our YouTube chat.
interesting. I
So
didn't see that.
yeah,
Cool. Right.
cool. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah, right. We were in the city walk first. We spent some time there having some food and beer,
Networking.
networking. I sung in the karaoke bar. Diego was there,
That
right?
was really good.
That was amazing. Yeah. I sang
Indeed, man.
Journey. Yeah, Jose.
Well, the part of you sang there was really good. We didn't know that you sang so well, and with that band and all that stuff, it was a really good moment. And well, the parks, there was another one from the MVP Summit. I think it was called Pandora World of Avatar.
Uh-huh.
That
Yep.
That was for MVPs only.
yeah, this one I think was the
And
most
it's
fun,
under NDA as well.
and everyone loves that
Yeah, you should
attraction.
not. It's watch out for the strikes, guys.
Yep, this is under NDA. No,
Yep.
it's not. That was really good as well.
Yeah, yeah. All right.
So I mean, to summarize this, I think it was a good experience. If you never attended a symposium, I mean, try to. There's a lot of people you will know. There's a lot of new stuff that you learn. And you can even go to Universal Park just like we did, and it was closed for us. Everybody attending the event. 3,000 people there at Universal, but it was all for us.
Yeah,
So
it was different than last year. Last year we got a Caesar Palace in Las Vegas, and that was like a dance hall, right? And there it was people were spread through the park. Some were roller coastering, some people were riding simulators and etc. So it was fun, but at the same time, I miss having people in the same place. I love it. Especially was one interesting story. I was riding a roller coaster with Churesh, and then they
the
got
Hulk,
some
the Hulk,
the Hulk one.
the Hulk, that was
Yeah,
fun.
in the end of the thing, the guy said, "Come here, see the pictures. You want some, sir?" And he said, "No, no, no, thank you. It's free." Okay, two for me, please. Two for me. It's free. Yeah, so kind of Orlando. It's great and expensive.
Guys, any other questions? Any other comments? Those here on the table, Fernanda, Roberto, and guys on the
Roberto.
line.
Roberto,
That is
we
pretty
haven't
much what
heard
we
your
had
voice.
prepared for
We
you
have two
today.
Robertos in the room. Roberto Peplau, want to go ahead and say something for us, Roberto? Give us the sound of your voice, please. No, you're good.
So I'm sorry.
He has a question. Yeah, go ahead.
Once you go back there,
Your voice is cute.
so easy. When you when you told back there architectural changes on the Sitecore content tree to expect Helix project, have you seen the architecture? I'm wondering if we are going to have templates folder with the feature and foundation folders inside, or if we are going to have the feature and foundation folders, and then the template
Templates and
renderings
etc.
and so on inside.
Um, it would be just like Helix. You have templates and then feature foundation project. And
So, in other words, um, Helix was a more like a suggestion, if you will, like try to use this as a standard. But now Sitecore is actually incorporating into the product some of its principles. So I think for the next releases, and that is me thinking, I think we're gonna see more and more of that. More things becoming more like the way you should be doing things is on a Helix approach.
and
But I mean, we still need to wait and see if that's gonna happen. But I mean, for that one, that's already been announced that we're gonna have that.
there are rumors saying that the IDs that you find in the 9.1 for each of these folders will have the same IDs from the Habitat implementation. But don't remember, Habitat is not a starter kit. Okay. Anything else? All right, dudes.
Right. So looking forward for next year, guys.
Uh,
And
oh yeah, it's important. Let go ahead, talk about that.
yes, so I was speaking Portuguese here just to ensure that I'm not talking about something under NDA. So in November, we have the applications for MVPs. So keep an eye on it if you are looking forward to submit your profile to become an MVP on 2019. And that's it. Good luck for everyone.
Jose, go ahead and give us your final words.
Oh, thanks for participating with you guys, even being far. We have just the Atlantic Ocean in of us, but I felt I was there with you guys, and it was really fun and interesting to meet you guys on the symposium, and I really hope to see you guys next year there.
Right. Okay. Next Sitecore user group, I would like to announce it will be in December. Not
25.
not in that week. However, Mike Reynolds said he has no family he can do in that day. Right? It will be second week of December. We'll have Mike Reynolds and Ugo's from Sitecore. He's going to bring us his experiment.
Oh, from Coveo.
Coveo. Sorry,
Ugo.
I said what?
Sitecore.
From Sitecore. Ugo Souza from Sitecore.
Rodrigo seems to be drunk. I don't
Yeah,
know.
and I don't know. It's
I guess we
night
all are.
already. Okay, so it's December next edition. We're done, I guess.
Ciao.
Bye bye.
Thank you.
Thanks
Hasta
everybody
luego.
in the line. Tchau, queridos. Bye. Fecha o stream aí, né? Fecha o stream.
Que agora vai começar a mesa redonda de verdade.